Happy New Year. It's officially 2026, and you know what that means. There's a lot of people out there with New Year's resolutions, especially when it comes to weight loss and health. And that's something I did not too long ago as I lost over 100 pounds and I've been able to keep it off. So I wanted to kind of share some of my secrets that I've been using. A lot of people are going to go through withdrawal if you're trying to lose weight, and it's coming from your gut bacteria. You're trying to change your gut biome, and your gut biome has a control over what you think about because it extends into the frontal lobe. So a good way to start changing that is to start drinking teas, add that into your diet. So you can just get like a regular green tea. Now, one thing I will say, some people, there's a lot of information out there, say that this tea bag is bad for you because it's spreading microplastics when you put in hot water or pour hot water over it. That's true. However, it's still better for you than drinking a pop, than drinking Coca-Cola, because those cans are lined with plastic, and so you're getting microplastics whether you drink tea or whether you drink a pop of your choice, and it's going to be much better for you to drink the tea. Now, if you want to start getting fancy, I use these metal tea bags, and that way I don't have to worry about microplastics. I also like to mix up my tea. I have loose tea, and I also put saffron in it. That's just something I started recently. Now, this isn't necessarily going to help you with dieting. That's for something else, and I'll probably go into that later. But as far as dieting goes, yeah, start adding tea into your diet, and because one of the biggest things you're going to take from this is do not drink your calories. If you can just get used to drinking tea and drinking coffee without anything in it and drinking water, water is what you should be drinking most of the time. So get used to doing that. Now, if you have a protein shake, that doesn't count. That's food. If you have to put something in your coffee to drink it, you have to put milk in, that's fine. As long as you're progressing and getting off of seed oils and getting off of things that disrupt your gut biome. And a lot of those creamers out there have seed oils. Another thing is try to replace your snacks, because it's going to be much harder to just stop cold turkey than it is to replace them with something healthier. So let's check out this. So here's a bag of chips. 160 calories in this, okay? Not very big. 160 calories, 2 grams of protein. So if you're trying to hit the gym, if you're trying to build some muscle, that's not going to help you. You can replace it with something like this. These Quest protein chips, 19 grams of protein, 140 calories. So right there, you've added protein and you've lowered your calories. About the same weight. So you're eating the same amount of food by weight and lower calories. Great, much better. And if you're trying to implement like dietary changes, it's always good to ease yourself into it. I think it's better to ease yourself into it than it is to go cold turkey, because the thing is, if you go cold turkey, you're going to have a much harder time getting into it. A lot of people try, and that's why they give up, because it's just they can't take the withdrawal from what they're used to. So if you're trying to add, let's say, broccoli into your diet, one great way to do it might be to try these crispy broccoli florets. Now, here's the thing. They do have breading on them, and yes, it does increase the calories dramatically. So this has 4 servings of 170 calories. A bag of broccoli about this size has, I think, 40 calories per serving. So it's pretty dramatic. However, I would argue this is going to be better to add it into your diet than to go out and continue eating fried French fries. Bake these in the oven, put them in the air fryer, keep the calories low, as low as you can. Maybe add some sauce. Then as your body starts getting used to having broccoli or things like that consistently, then you can back off. That is probably one of the quickest ways. Another thing beans are going to be, lentils, beans are going to be great for losing weight and losing it fast. Make these a major part of your diet. That's what I've done when I was losing weight, because your body doesn't absorb all the calories. And so you have beans and a little bit of rice, and you can get a complete protein profile without, because you have all your essential amino acids, with a very, very low caloric intake. So it's absolutely great for dropping weight and dropping it as fast as possible, because you got to remember, it might be January 1st, but Beachbody season is right around the corner. It's coming up fast, and now 2027, it's going to be here before we know it. So, you need to start now and start making changes. And it's going to boil down to whether you can make these subtle changes to your lifestyle, changes that you can adhere to day in and day out, rather than trying to make dramatic changes that you're only going to keep for a little while. You're trying to maintain a different lifestyle. It's kind of like a phoenix. The phoenix rising from the ashes. Its old self has to be burned off. That's not a pleasant experience. Your old self has to die for the new self to be reborn from the ashes of your old self. That's what I did when I lost over 100 pounds. When I started going to the gym consistently, is I just kept grinding away, and I burned off my old self and re-emerged as a completely different person. And I would never go back. You could not give me enough to go back and live life as that old person. It would be so miserable. And I've had so many great experiences that I wouldn't have been able to have. So I would just advise, start making changes now. Make subtle changes. They're going to have a big impact, because you have to remember, when you're just getting started, there's also Pareto distribution, where your gains are not going to be significant. They may not be noticeable at all, which is one reason it's nice to start during the winter, because then you can keep wearing clothes and you're covered up. And by the time summertime comes around and you start taking your clothes off, you look a lot better. But with the Pareto distribution, it starts off slow and then it just cascades, but it also goes the other way. So if you don't make changes, things will get worse and worse and worse, and then you kind of just fall off a cliff. So start making changes now, and try to make subtle changes. Try to make changes you will adhere to, and become the phoenix. And hopefully, you can stick to your 2026 resolutions.